you now have multiple different journeys that you have to measure and know what's working and what's not, where there's friction. The other piece of that is you've got all the forces working. So how did your team determine the impact on things like site aesthetics, usability, et cetera, when all five forces are constantly changing? Seasonality, audience, site speed, all of those. How do you balance all that and figure out where the problem
Yeah, I mean
is?
that's the magic of it, right? Is that it's never a singular issue. I mean, you're very lucky if half the time you can go out there and say, okay, out of everything going on within this category of products, I got one thing that didn't work, and I can go out and fix it. But I think it goes back to, I mean, the amount of attention you give those categories to be differentiated allows you to be able to get more in tune with what those customers are looking for. And then most of the time, and when you're tuning the category, you have to tune the analytics that you're looking at to be able to mirror that journey. So if I have certain things that are needed in buying an appliance versus a pro buying bunks of lumber, there's the staple kind of needs of what that journey looks like from a customer funnel, but there's all kinds of functionality that gets built into that that might be a little bit different that you've got to keep an eye on to make sure that it's running the way that you've designed it. And there's thousands of things that can go bump in the night with major e-commerce websites. Being able to understand what those things are and be alerted to it proactively saves you, I mean, significant amounts of cycles that are potentially disappointing customers. So I think it just comes back to the point that yes, you need to be aware of all, and you've got to come up with some way to proactively sit out there and be notified when these things are not working. And that's a bit of the secret sauce. The better you get at that, the less customer disruption there is, and the less customer disruption there is, the more satisfaction they have with the experience.
Wow. Sounds it's almost overwhelming the more you describe it. Can
There's
you think? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, there's a lot to it, but I think the magic is keeping it simple, right? I mean, you can get mired in details, and there's points in time where you need to get deep into subject matter. But I think at the same time, you've got to have key metrics that are out there that you're proactively looking at, and at the same time, how are you going back, like to what we discussed in the very beginning about like what's that customer saying? If I come in on a Sunday and I see that my scores were great on portions of the site experience, and I come in on Monday and I see that in the last 12 hours it's dropped by X many points, something's going on. I mean, so is that the indicator that we need to be looking at intensely to be able to make sure that we haven't missed something in some of those macro metrics we might be looking at? If something on that side goes wrong with the customer, it could detail very quickly exactly what the problem is and how you start diagnosing it. So it constantly is just what are the things you got to monitor? Keep it simple with what those main things are. If one of those starts acting up, then the deep dives need to occur, and you just got to be ready for it.